minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I ask unanimous consent that the following article be entered into the record. It responds to this Pinocchio claim about the letter that was sent by Dave Camp 10 days before Lois Lerner's hard drive crash.
This is the National Review article, June 25th, 2014. Without objection, so ordered.
And it makes the point that the letter didn't specifically say targeting conservative groups. That's true. But what it did say was that they were concerned that the IRS was targeting donors to conservative groups and C4 groups. And so either way, Lois Lerner would have been the person who would have been implicated in that. And I think the article does a good job of showing why the Washington Post analysis was suspect. Man, if I received a subpoena or the government asked me to produce some documents and I said, sorry, they're destroyed, and then it turned out someone could just walk down 10 days later and find them all, man, I'd be in a world of trouble. 300 million Americans would be in a world of trouble. And yet here, the IRS, they don't care. Commissioner Koskinen, he's been offended almost that we ask him questions about this stuff. And to look back at his testimony now, with him saying over and over again that those emails were destroyed, the tapes were gone, sorry guys, and then to know what was found very easily by the IG, it is stunning. And it's very upsetting because we're supposed to live in a Republican form of government based on law, in which the people who are in positions of power are still subject to the law. And indeed, I think people like Koskinen should have a higher standard than the average American. Instead, this is a lower standard. This type of production would never be acceptable outside of Washington, D.C. It's very, very frustrating. Mr. Camus, you seized the tapes July 1st, 2014. Later that month, you submitted an affidavit for a case in the District Court of the District of Columbia. There was the True the Vote case, and part of the issue was the production of these emails and the backup tapes. Do you recall working with the Department of Justice on that?
I do.
And you submitted an application. I think you signed your affidavit on July 17th, 2014.
That sounds accurate.
And then it was filed in the District Court on July 18, 2014. So in between July 4th and the time you executed that affidavit, you were in contact with attorneys for the Department of Justice?
That's correct.
And did they ask you about the status of the backup tapes?
They asked us about the status of our efforts to recover email. I think it was a FOIA litigation. And so any emails that we uncovered would be pertinent to FOIA. So they asked for us to give them a status on, did we find new emails, and if not, when we would have them from our search.
So did you update them that there were backup tapes filed and that you were going to look into pulling emails off those tapes?
I can't recall at that point if we knew. I don't think we saw any emails until November. So in July, I don't believe I was aware that we were going to be able to actually see any emails.
So you just knew you had the backup tapes?
We knew that we had when we went to the IRS and we asked for the backup tapes, I knew that they had provided 744 of the backup tapes.
Okay. And you discussed the case with Joseph Sergi at the DOJ. Is that the attorney you work with?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And, well, so they filed a pleading in that case, and I think it bears the committee to follow up on that, because I'm not sure some of the representations made by the Department of Justice well, they're certainly not consistent with the facts as we know now, but I don't know that they are consistent with the facts as they would have known at the time. So I think that bears investigation, and I think that the committee needs to look into it. This is really, really frustrating. I mean, this has been going on now for almost 2 years. Almost 2 years. And you have somebody who's held in contempt. Oh, let me ask just really quickly. I noticed on this brief that the U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia, Ron Machin, was listed of counsel. Have you had any interactions with U.S. Attorney Machin in this case? Okay. And so Lois Lerner's held in contempt statutes say when you're held in contempt of Congress, you're going to grand jury at the District of Columbia in federal district court. Nothing's happened. Nothing's happened at all. That's coming up on almost a year here in a couple months. And so we have a situation where I think the IRS has figured they can systematically try to thwart our efforts, and there's just not going to be any consequences. And I think that needs to change. I think that the Congress needs to stand up on behalf of the American people for the truth, and I don't think we can allow this to continue to go on the way it is. And I yield back.